friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of July 3rd to July 9th, 2022. I'm Akash Cody, and we have some news that is shocking the world. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has been assassinated, and UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson resigned from office. As well as this, Elon Musk ended his $44 billion bid to acquire social media platform Twitter. So let's go over each of these major stories in turn. First, Shinzo Abe, the former Prime Minister of Japan, was assassinated on Friday, July 8th, 2022, in the city of Nara in Japan. Mr. Abe was campaigning for his Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) candidate in the upcoming Sunday's upper house election, as he was shot twice in the chest from behind. Shinzo Abe was immediately airlifted to the nearby Nara Medical University Hospital, and yet all efforts to revive Abe failed. The former Prime Minister succumbed to his gunshot injuries and was proclaimed dead at 5 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Authorities got hold of the 41-year-old shooter and are investigating the motives behind this heinous act of terror. Shinzo Abe was a two-time Prime Minister of Japan and a towering global figure. At the age of 52, Abe became the youngest Prime Minister to hold this office since World War II, first serving as Prime Minister from 2006 to 2007. Shinzo Abe was known for his principles of right-wing conservatism and is famously known for reviving his Liberal Democratic Party, his LDP, and winning the 2012 elections, becoming the Prime Minister of Japan for the second time. And from that moment onwards, Abe served as the Prime Minister of Japan all the way until 2020, before resigning, citing health issues. Shinzo Abe came from a very high-fi political family. His father, Shintaro Abe, served as the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan, while his grandfather and great-uncle were both past Prime Ministers of Japan as well. During his time as Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe worked tirelessly to revive the Japanese economy through policies famously known as Abenomics, through the combination of fiscal stimuli, monetary easing, and structural reforms. Prime Minister Abe was a true friend to the United States and to India. Abe promoted American engagement in the Indo-Pacific region and was key in establishing the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or Quad Group, with Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, helping to maintain peace in this region. The world was in total shock at this attack because Japan has one of the lowest rates of gun violence in the world. Like, if we compare Japan with the United States, Japan is far more peaceful. For every 400 gun-related incidents happening in the US, only one will happen in Japan. Whereas Japan has very infrequent cases of gun violence, America has had many. Even on July 4th, America's Independence Day, like a mass shooting in an Independence Day parade near Chicago, Illinois on July 4th took the lives of 7 and injured 46. World leaders, including President Biden and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, condemned this barbaric act of Shinzo Abe's assassination and extended their deepest condolences. Violence has no place in democracy, and this terror attack should be condemned by all. Measures should be taken in place to prevent attacks like this from ever happening again. But clearly, there is a way to peacefully resolve these political differences in democracy, and that is called voting. while this heinous act is happening in Japan, on the other side of the planet, another top political leader has resigned as the country's prime minister, even through the political process, as he has lost the confidence of his party. If massive, radical political change has to occur, then that should be the way to do it. And it is not what has happened with Shinzo Abe's assassination this week. Our condolences to Shinzo Abe's family and to everyone involved in this. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all. Let's take a look at our next story. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, announced his resignation from office on July 7th, 2022. Following mass resignations of government ministers and letters of no confidence sent by members of parliament over the 2 days before. This makes Boris Johnson the third Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in a row to have resigned, with David Cameron having resigned in 2016 and his successor Theresa May resigning in 2019, both as a result of Brexit. But this resignation of Boris Johnson, member of the Conservative Party, came after allegations of sexual misconduct against Chris Pincher, former Conservative Party Deputy Chief Whip. The allegations extended before his time as Deputy Chief Whip, and many came to the belief that Prime Minister Johnson had apparently known about this beforehand. While he originally denied these allegations, Boris Johnson later told the BBC on July 5th, 2022, that he had been told Pincher did have a misconduct complaint and that he hadn't acted on it, expressing regret for having made Pincher the party's deputy chief whip. And just minutes later, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, and Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Sajid Javid, both announced they had resigned from office. Several parliamentary private secretaries, also known as PPSs, very much resigned that same day. And over the next 2 days, over 1/3 of Britain's major governmental officials had all but resigned in protest of the British government under Boris Johnson. Now, this all ultimately led to Boris Johnson's official announcement that he would be resigning on July 7th, 2022. And the Conservative Party will be having a party-wide election to determine the leader of the Conservative Party and Boris Johnson's successor as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. That's going to be happening later this year, and until that time, Boris Johnson will be serving as the caretaker in advance of these new elections. So now we're going to have to see who is going to be the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after Boris Johnson's resignation on July 7th, 2022. And now it's time for our final story of the week. After months of negotiating, the richest man on earth, Elon Musk, has finally decided to end his $44 billion bid to acquire social media platform Twitter, citing a breach of the contract that Twitter and Musk had signed at the start of talks. Elon Musk said that Twitter's failure to give him data on spam bots, which he had been giving a big priority on throughout the negotiations, was what led to the breach and Elon Musk's pulling the plug. Now, Twitter board chair Brett Taylor pledged to sue Elon Musk in Delaware State Court in order to get this acquisition to continue, raising the interesting prospect that Twitter plans to sue Elon Musk in order to get him to buy Twitter. It's an interesting thing. Shares of Elon Musk's company Tesla rose by over 2% after Musk announced he was pulling the plug on the Twitter deal. But we're going to have to see how things go and whether the courts will rule that Elon Musk did not actually get Twitter to have broken their contract and that Elon Musk has to have it go through. So we're going to have to see if the court decides. And that is what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk's acquisition. That is all of your news of the week for the week of July 3rd to July 9th, 2022. I'm Akasha Cody, and I'll see you soon in another News of the Week. Goodbye.